Greetings and salutations. This is the voice of Loquacious of Herd, bringing you his afterthoughts on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 5, Episode 17, titled Brotherhooves Social. I heartily suggest that you find and watch the episode itself, sans commentary, before proceeding with either this Afterthoughts review or viewing my full reaction, which is hosted at the link in the description. Be warned, this Afterthoughts review will contain spoilers for this episode. With that out of the way, a note before we move on to the review itself. This spoken herd review will be relatively brief, as there was a more extensive written herd segment produced for this episode. That written herd segment is available in Google Drive under details in the blind reactions description. Well, it looks like I got my wish. With the last episode, Made in Manhattan, I mentioned being curious as to what all had transpired at this year's Sisterhooves social, given that Rarity and Applejack were unable to attend. And so this episode, we get a flashback to that festive day of sororal love. Kudos to the social's organizers for recognizing that the bonds of sisterly affection can exist between ponies who aren't related by blood or law. Rainbow Dash is as much a sister to Scootaloo as can be, so it's very nice to see those two competing together as a team in the social. And double kudos to the social's organizers for having a sufficiently loose definition of a sister that Cousin Orchard Blossom is allowed to team up with Apple Bloom for the event. Cross-dressing has a long and proud legacy of humor behind it. Shakespeare used it frequently as a comic literary device. Mythology points to such notable figures as Thor and Achilles who engaged in the practice so as to achieve certain goals. Ditto to the somewhat more historical Hua Mulan. In short, when a situation emerges when someone, or some pony, needs to disguise themselves as the opposite sex to accomplish some deed, then that situation is ripe for humor. The field of literature is littered with such stories dating back thousands of years. My Little Pony pulls it off brilliantly. Big Mac, as Cousin Orchard Blossom, is delightfully unconvincing, and hearing him prattle on in falsetto is a joy, not just because it's always good to see Big Mac getting lines, but because of how very un-Big Mac-ly he sounds. Of course, the deception all falls apart at the end, and again, we get a lovely lesson on acceptance. It's not Big Mac's status as Apple Bloom's brother that disqualifies him. It's his poor sportsmanship, driven by his desperate need to help his little sister win a prize. This is what results in their being banned from this day's competition. Which, in turn, pivots from comedy to pathos. Big Mac's soliloquy, delivered to Apple Bloom, where he shares his feelings about being her big brother, and being overshadowed by their more famous sister Applejack, is something I found deeply moving. All the comedy of the earlier deception was rooted in these very real, deep, and personal feelings of love that he had for his little sister, his willingness to do anything to make her happy, to be, once again, a hero for her. Humor, then an unexpected kick to the feels. This certainly remains the season of feels, followed by a perfect end. Understanding and acceptance from Apple Bloom, a renewal of the close bonds of family and friendship, which Big Mac had felt were beginning to slip away. And a moment of quality time Apple Bloom chose to spend with her brother, rather than her newly returned from Manhattan sister. I like. If you wish to see my full reaction to My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 5, Episode 17, titled Brotherhooves Social, the link, as I mentioned earlier, is in the description. Feel free to leave any comments or likes for that reaction here on this Afterthought review. In addition, the full text of the original written herd segment for my blind reaction to Brotherhooves Social is available in Google Drive under details in the video's description. And until next time, as always, kindly remember, y'all are awesome. Stay awesome.